Candidates for State Senate, District 18. Carla Kemp. Linda Harris was invited, but did not come.
Next, I'm going to introduce Carla Kemp, who is standing for Florida State Senate District 18. Yes, ma'am.
Amazing.
I get a little confused because they've redone some of these districts, 16s and 18s.
For those of you who don't know, I ran for Congress for like 6 months. And I went from 13 to 16 and then shuffled over to the state senate. So it's hard for her to say it when I hear like, hey, wait, my name is Carla Kemp, I'm running for Florida State Senate 18. So it makes sense because you wouldn't say it yours often as I would for it to come out a little bedazzled, we'll call it. So anyway, most of you know why, okay? I had a lot of tech challenges. I actually had Google cut me off my website. You couldn't find me in Google search anywhere. So that was literally 2 weeks before qualifying, like way too late for me to really get it back into the game. So I made a strategic move over to District 18 because a lot of the things that I've been talking about at a nationwide level are applicable to Florida as well. Number one, fighting fashion. You know, it's exactly what Ron DeSantis is doing, this utilization of the tax excuse, by the way, to then isolate control of all of the money and all the communities into Tallahassee, making that where they have solitary control, telling us what we can and cannot do, the money we're going to get for our communities, or your areas that you're talking about, which you and I need to talk. I got some ideas for you. When I studied global sustainability at the University of South Florida, in Tampa, my mentor was the head of urban studies. So that's kind of my another groove. I studied multiple aspects there. I spent an extended period of time doing a dual master's, so focusing on urban areas, but in that process was actually the coastal zone management, so very specifically dealing with the hurricanes, the issues that we have here. And then I also studied renewable energy, and my big focus was so that I could be of use to Pinellas County, because I knew I wanted to move back here. I had moved up there for school. So my goal was to be of use to Pinellas County and the coastal areas. So it's just coming in handy here. But I'm also a life insurance agent, life and health insurance, and property and casualty. So long and short of it, actually, I spent 14 years in finance. I've not only done insurance, but I've also done mortgages. So I know about our housing issues, I know about our cost of living issues, and I know how to deal with those because I know ways to cut our costs so that we can get better mortgages, and I know ways to correct what's happening in the insurance world. Some of you were here before when I announced, and I made a point to say, hey, by the way, I actually was one of the whistleblowers for insurance here. So I know what they should have done. I know what they could have done. And I know what they didn't do. Now, the man who's my opponent as a Republican was the vice president of that committee, who said, hey, by the way, we're going to pull out of your pocket instead of the company's pocket. Meanwhile, the company took record-breaking profits 4 years in a row, gave them to the mama company outside of the state, then said, oh my God, we have nothing in our bank. We need your money, we need more money, we need to be able to raise the prices. But I don't know about anybody else, I got turned down for the hurricanes, which is a flat out breach of contract. And like 89% of the claims that were made were turned down and declined for no reason. That should have been covered, by the way. And yet, what are they doing about it? Absolutely nothing. At no point should you have to hire an attorney to use a contract that you have made with an insurance company that I know for a fact has gone up by about 400% in the last 5 years, because mine has. And I don't even live on the beach. I can't imagine what it is in a flood zone. I don't have flood insurance. I live at the High Point. My insurance when I bought my house was $1,500 a year. It's now $4,000. And it's a small house. So I can't imagine anybody else. So my goal is to get in there and make the changes that we deserve, bring the state back to the people. I don't know how many of you have been here long enough, but in the 90s, Florida had the lowest cost of living to income ratio in the country. And that was why people moved here, because Florida was beautiful and they could afford to live. That's why people came here to retire, because they could afford to do it. Now people are leaving because they can't afford to do it. You know, they keep bringing, actually we've been a full county, population-wise and building-wise for 10 years now. There is nowhere left to build in Pinellas County. We are the only county in Florida like that. So the more people who move here, it's going to become supply and demand. More people who come, we don't have housing, your costs are going to go up. When they tear down these places and they build $500,000 condos that you and I can't afford, everything else is going to go up as well. So we need to get that under control. But if we can get this insurance under control, can you imagine how the cost of living is going to go down? People who rent, your rent has no reason not to go down as well. So, Carla, I can talk about a lot of things, guys. But if anybody would like me to come to their communities and talk, I'm happy to do that. Let me know. You can find my information at carlaforflorida.com. You can, nice and simple, it is turning over to my other one, my other website. So if you see the address say Carla for Congress, that's okay. It's just the quick way to do it as with the change, as opposed to rebuilding the website. But there's so much more I have to say, so much more that's on my website. Feel free to call me, email me. I'll come and talk to you guys. Catch me afterwards. I do have some documentation back there as well. But carlaforflorida.com. Thanks, guys.
And there is another candidate for Senate 18, Linda, and I have to apologize, I don't know what Linda looks like. So Linda Harris is.
Linda Kellis, right?
Yes.
Is she here? I've seen
She
her
said
once.
she wasn't sure if she was going to be able to make it.
I don't see the person that I think of.
Nobody introduced themselves to me as her, so, but she's on the ballot also.
Candidates for State Representative, District 61. May Thatch. May is running unopposed in the primary.
And she's standing for state rep for District 61.
I'm in the Waterbury. But good evening, everyone. My name is May Thatch. I am running for State House District 61, so that includes basically west of US 19 or 34th Street and south of 72nd Avenue. So the beaches, a bit of St. Petersburg, a bit of Pinellas Park, a bit of Kennett City, a bit of everything in our district. It is a very large district, one of the largest district with multiple cities within it. And I did grow up here. I went to elementary school all the way from Madeira Beach all the way to Pinellas Park High School. So I'm a proud graduate of our Pinellas County public school system. I also graduated from the University of South Florida in Tampa, and throughout my experience I also had the opportunity to serve in the Peace Corps as well in Zambia. Typically it's a 27-month service, but I really enjoyed my time there, so I stayed for almost 3.5 years in Zambia and really did education work. I did reproductive justice and healthcare work, and also leadership empowerment for boys and girls over in Zambia. During that experience, I did a lot of grassroots organizing work, which really inspired me to come back to the US to get a graduate degree there around nonprofit management and international development work, which I got at University of California, San Diego. I don't know if you've been to San Diego. It actually reminded me a lot of St. Petersburg, just a very bigger version and even more expensive place than here, even though we're really catching up here in St. Petersburg and Pinellas County for living costs, as the other candidates have mentioned. But since I've been back in the district, I've been working at a national nonprofit, which is a policy advocacy nonprofit and also a reproductive justice, reproductive healthcare, civic engagement organization. So throughout my time there, I really got the opportunity to work with all of the nonprofits within our state and really building infrastructure for people to get involved and engage with our political process. So one of the things I'm really proud of is being able to bring in, just everyday people in our community to talk about the issues that they care about to the legislatures, either in Tallahassee or in Washington, D.C. And these are most of the time it's the person's first time ever telling their story, right? Talking to the representative. It shouldn't be scary, but the way that politics have been, people are really nervous about sharing their story because they're very protective of who's actually going to listen. And unfortunately, in Florida, we don't have to the people on the ground, right? So it's really disheartening where we're bringing folks to Tallahassee or DC to then tell their story, tell their representatives the issues that they care about, but they're not listening. And so I asked